Welcome to Fit Club Vegas, the ultimate fitness destination for visitors. Drop in for a day pass and experience our 10,000 square foot fitness playground. At Fit Club, you'll find state-of-the-art equipment and a sound system so good you'll pitch your headphones. Conveniently located 7 to 12 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip, Fit Club is a perfect spot for you to come get your pump while visiting Sin City. So come check us out at 4525 West Hacienda, Las Vegas, Nevada. Fit Club Vegas, more than a gym. It's a vibe.
All right, guys, we're back for another episode. Cutler Cast in
130.
What do you mean?
Episode 130.
Is it that many?
Yes.
I can't believe we got there.
I actually was watching the first episode the other day.
Yeah, we watched it a little bit. Yeah.
You're pretty bad.
Well, if you remember, our mouths were moving opposite our words. So.
It looked like Max Headroom because the computer processor was so slow. It was pretty bad.
So, best tip I can give anyone that's starting a podcast: you have to have a processor on your computer to be able to. And what was the difference in the processor from the one we upgraded to?
Originally, I just had like a MacBook Air, and it only had like a 4-core processor. And then
that's what I use actually for my emails and stuff.
That's all you really need.
Carry it on the road.
Yeah, it's all you need.
Right?
This computer here has like 38 processors or something like that, so it's a little more smooth.
But it was a lot more money.
Yeah. This one was like $3,500, I think. But it can handle whatever. We could have 4 or 5 monitors running off of it. It's got 32 gigs of RAM. Yeah. Not that people give a shit, but still.
All right, so what's been going on in the life of Cutler Cast, man? What do we have? We have Italy this weekend. Tonight is the first football game of the season. I went to a college game, first time ever, last weekend. I went to USC LSU, and it probably could have been the college game of the year, I think. And
I don't know what probably it's going to end up being. That's tough.
It's funny because I saw that they were... You know, the guy who shoots a lot of our content for JTV, besides Dave, is our friend J-Mac. And he actually works at Field Club, which is the Wynn. They actually have a club at the end zone of the Raiders Stadium here, Allegiant Stadium. So he's like, hey, they're having a huge, he said it's our biggest selling attendance yet, okay, that he projected. And it broke the record, right? I sent it to you after 63,000 or something like that.
I saw Shaq was DJing.
Yeah. So he was DJing and he had a party. They threw an after party after. Yeah. So anyway, I called one of my good friends that's local here, Ryan Lab, and I said, hey man, can we get tickets, to go to this? Would you like to go? And he's like, I didn't know anything about it. And he's like, yeah, but I can't guarantee I'll stay the whole game. Because obviously college ball, I don't think he's ever been to one. Man, we had 40-yard line seats. We were probably 20 rows up, and we sat in the LSU section. He was there for Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to Super Bowl, but he said, man, it was packed, whatever. But he said the aura of it was more than the Super Bowl, which I think was amazing. And, I mean, these fans are dedicated. They have the bands going. They had the mascots and everything. I'll talk a little bit about that. So we sat for the half in the visitor section. I guess we consider visitor USC. I would think
that's going to kind of be home.
Yeah, because we look and a lot of it's red, and then you had all the purple in the other sections. Yeah. But I think there was a lot of USC fans there because it's closer to California. So we sat there for the first half. We just hung out and just chilled there, and then halftime we went down to the Field Club, got in there. And we had actually like a front table in the end zone. And we joined actually one of the Fertittas who used to own USC. They own stations here. And, man, it was awesome. So I got to stand there right at the edge. I put my hands right on the end. And the mascot was coming up doing the quad stomp. And everyone kept coming over from LSU walking because it was their end zone.
Yeah.
And, of course, they scored a touchdown right there. And it was just... Dude, it was awesome.
Was that your first college game?
Yes, because I don't go to a lot of, I'm so crowded events, and that's surprising. When I told a lot of people I was actually at the game, they're like, wait a minute.
When you told me you were going, I'm like, you're full of shit.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, the game came down to the last, it was a field goal by USC in the last, literally 5 seconds. So we end up staying the whole game. Even my buddy who said, I don't think I'll make the whole game, Ryan's like, man, we have to stay. And we were trying not to get swarmed because, me leaving. Dude, people came up left and right. I feel so honored that –
Yeah.
like this many people in this whole world now. It's not just fitness related. It's just
college football game.
I know, but it's just, I mean, every demographic you can imagine, older, younger, parents with their kids. It was just, dude, they come up, hey, Jay Cutler. And I mean, people were screaming, yelling. It was pretty cool. But they were respectful, no major, no problems. And it was a great game.
You know, before you went, I told you had never been to a college game.
Yes.
And I said, college is more intense than the NFL. And it is, because in the NFL, it's about the name on the back. On college, it's about the name on the front. And people go crazy.
Well, listen, when you lived in Wisconsin, we used to go back and forth because they had that running back that was like, I don't know if he was a Heisman candidate or.
Well, when I was going to Wisconsin, we had Ron Dane, who was the best running back.
Yeah.
He broke the records, but they've had 3 other Badger running backs break the record.
We used
since.
to communicate every week. You would be like, we'd be somewhere and we'd travel, and you'd be like, I got to check the Wisconsin game.
I'd always check the games.
And now I'm like, hey, you following it? And you're like, no. But honestly, every week, I'm going to start following more college ball than professional. I mean, tonight is Ravens and Chiefs is the kickoff game tonight.
I was telling you, I went the last college game. I mean, I've been to a couple like Florida State throughout. I went to one in Tuscaloosa once, but I was a sophomore in college when Michigan was number 1 and Wisconsin was number 3. It was Ron Dane's last year, and he sat out. He was injured, and the game came down to the wire. It was 20 below 0, and Charles Woodson threw a flea flicker to win the game. And I remember, like, it snowed the night before, so, like, these fans would stand up and take their shirts off, and all you'd see is snowballs coming, just pelting the fans in the crowd. But college games are they're just more fun than pro.
So I think, I mean, I hear Georgia is, like, kind of the team this year. I mean, they've always been great, but I'm going to try to check out some more. It's a Saturday thing, but, obviously we traveled a lot over the years, and this year – in this season, we don't have a ton of stuff, and that's by choice. I mean, I have obviously October is pretty full.
Yeah.
But September, I only have one weekend, so it gives me a little more time, a little more freedom. I've been talking about this, and I actually I did a YouTube video on Cutler Nutrition. I talked about stepping out of the comfort zone, trying to take in and enjoy the time a little better, and that was my first attempt, and I had great success in it. I was happy I did it. I mean, you can see the excitement. I mean, it was awesome,
You will go more because there will be more big neutral games here because it's Vegas. And every year there's going to be 1 or 2 big games here. It's worth going, even if you're not a fan of either side.
I wasn't, and that's everyone asked me, who you rooting for? And I'm like, I don't care. I just want to see an awesome game. And I didn't. I thought, okay, by half, I thought LSU would be running with it, and I was shocked.
You told me, you're like, I'm not staying past half.
And we did.
I know. And you're like, I'm here to the end. Earlier this year, I went to my first Brazil soccer game here.
And you weren't sure about that.
No,
you remember?
Same thing. I was like, oh,
you're like, man, I'm not going to spend money on this.
Well, the tickets are $500.
Yeah.
And I was like, once I got there, I'm like, I can
that's probably a lot. That's a bigger crowd. Oh no, because it was at the Raiders Stadium.
It was at the Raiders Stadium. This next one will be because it's like they have the World Cup all across the states, but there's no games in Vegas for some reason. So I'm sure at some point, different people I know, because I know a lot of Brazilians, they're going to say, and Milos is like, we need to go to a game because it's the World Cup, and it's all across North America. So
what would be nice, though, if we had an international trip, we really should look at going to one of these international events to see how crazy it is compared. Because I still feel like the States doesn't have – I mean, we have a lot of people that have migrated here and they live here and they're residents. But think about if we go to to Spain, or we go to one of these places that –
I know. I want to go to a soccer game in Brazil.
The arena has 120,000 people in it.
Go to a soccer game like Brazil versus Argentina or something like that. But it's cool, man. It's good you got to go see something different. I don't go to that many live sporting events just because, I don't know, I just kind of lost interest.
This UFC Spear thing is like all people are talking about right now. They've now cheapened up the tickets slightly. Yeah. Still crazy money. Yeah. Still like over 1,000, I think.
Well, I mean, the hard part is you got that, and then the same day you have Canelo and a Caleb Plant trains at Fit Club. I didn't realize he's the second co-main event at the Canelo fight. So one of our local guys is fighting. So that's going to be a crazy fight day in Vegas. What?
Well,
That's next
he
weekend.
fought Canelo.
Canelo, yeah. He said he wants again.
Yeah, and obviously he don't play around. Like,
Yeah.
There was some backstage thing where he punched someone right in the face.
He threw a drink at one.
You could hear like the smack, when he hit him, and
maybe
he's such a nice guy though. You never expect it when you meet him in person. He's so like humble and quiet. And,
I see him in the gym a couple times a week, and he's always in there training and just minding his own business. And I'm thinking, maybe we can get him on the podcast after his fight.
Yeah, I would say though this is the most relaxed and less stressed about traveling I've ever been.
Yeah.
Because I think this is the first season where we're somewhat idle a little bit in this month.
Yes.
Because normally, like
every weekend.
But a lot of times the Olympia was early. I mean, now we're looking at October 12th weekend.
Usually it's September.
Yeah, so there's a lot of years it has been. So it's like then we went to Arnold,
Europe,
Spain after. It was
Prague,
always like all those
Dubai
places.
Yeah,
you think about it.
Something. No, I mean this year normally in July it was every weekend. June was every weekend. May was every weekend, and this year is a little more chill. We don't have as many, but at the same time, the options are there. It's just not something that's worth.
Yeah, I mean, they have the Beanos Classic this weekend.
It's
right?
This weekend now, yeah.
The same weekend as Italy, but is Beanos a pro event?
It's a different bodybuilding body, but it's just a huge expo.
So I was going to go and a bodybuilding show.
Yeah, I was going to go with just.
It's a different organization, though, right?
It's a different one. But I mean, Sean Ray's over there. Trying to remember who else.
Is Andrew Jack there?
No.
Is he ready to come to the States?
Yeah.
I heard Urs reached out to me. He's training over in Dubai.
In Dubai at one of the new gyms.
Some. What did I tell you the name of it was? Dungeon.
I think so.
I've seen it in a couple pictures.
Kai Green's there. George Farah's there.
Yeah.
Mike O'Hearn's there. They're all in Dubai this weekend. Like I said, I was going to go, and then I just thought, man, I just got back from there.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fly around the world for 3 days and then fly right back.
So they have that, and then they have Dubai Muscle Show is October 26th weekend.
Yeah.
That's
Totally
where I'm in
different.
Dave Lieberman's show that weekend. So is that something that you'll be attending or not?
As of now, no. I mean, if something happens, maybe. The only thing I have a couple little short trips that will happen in the next 3 months, but for the most part, it's kind of chill. At the end of the year, I'm going to have a doozy.
I would love to be able to get more work in the Middle East and be able to book appearances. I mean, I know more expos are happening, whether it's Abu Dhabi or Saudi.
There's 2 in Saudi. There's Qatar. There's obviously Abu Dhabi. There's 3 in Dubai.
It's it would be the perfect time of year when it's a little off season.
I'm not going there in July ever again. Yeah. That was brutal. But I will have no problem going back this winter because I'm leaving the beginning of December and I'm not going to come back till mid-January. So I'm going to go to Asia for 3 weeks and then I'm going to go to Africa. So I'm going to be gone. But there's stuff at the end of January in Dubai. And I thought to myself, am I going to end up going straight to Dubai from Africa and not come home for 2.5 months? But
I got pitched to possibly do a Bali trip in December, meaning a leisure trip.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that live over there.
Yeah.
But that's something you got to do for a couple weeks, I think. Anyone been to Bali? Let me know what you guys think of Bali. It's on my bucket list.
I've never been to Bali, but I've been to Indonesia. I've been to Jakarta, which Bali's an island in the southeast part of Indonesia. But I'm gonna be over there for a couple weeks. If you guys are there, we could pop over for a couple days. I have my trip to Asia booked, and then I have my trip from Asia to Africa booked. So the 16 days in the middle, it's kind of I have an idea like Philippines, Cambodia. I'll go back to Hong Kong for a couple days and go to Macau and go see old friends and business partners, and then I'll pop into Thailand and Singapore, and there's a bunch of stuff around. But if there was something else to do, it would be easier for me because I'm flying out of out of Singapore to Africa on the 20 something of December. So if there was something else there, Bali is only an hour and a half flight from Singapore.
Well, I mean, I think it's a lot of fitness related there. I think it would work well for definitely a bucket list trip. There's not a lot of places I actually say I really want to go, but Bali's a long one.
You ain't going. It's too far for you.
No, I think I'll go. I think I'm getting to that point. If I'm not cranked out like I am right now, it's just that when ask me after October, because October is a pretty busy month.
Yeah.
And then I finished November 2nd's my show in Boston, and we get through Thanksgiving and all that. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
We're building for the Olympia. So this weekend and next weekend are the last qualifiers.
Yep.
So this weekend
Italy,
and then Spain.
And next week, Spain. And I'm assuming Hunter is going to, I don't know if he's doing both, but it's going to be pretty hard for him to lose.
I heard both originally, but.
Yes. He should. I mean, you're in shape. Might as well go scoop up more money while you're there. I don't know what the prize money is now, 15 or 20. Might as well. You're already there, and it's only 7 days apart. And I saw Rubiel backed out. So
and maybe he's doing Spain.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm not sure who if he backed out of those shows, Hunter. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but Hunter's he's going to be pretty tough to beat him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a legit top 5 guy in the world. I know.
And we'll see if we're talking about him as we are with Andrew Jack and potentially some of these new guys. I still think Nick Walker's making a push. Hottie is in the States now. Derek is looking phenomenal. Samson looks great. I mean, they're saying how he's in better shape now than maybe he's hit the stage at a certain point. We don't know who the sleeper is. I think the sleeper leading up, and I'm pretty impressed actually, is with the guy who almost beat Nick Walker in New York.
Martin Fitzwater.
Yes.
He could.
He's looking pretty dense.
Yeah.
I mean, Brett Wilkin looks good, but he's not competing this year.
No, he's doing the show
He's doing Reno, right?
What's that, in 2 weeks, I think?
Yeah.
He's doing Reno. I don't know who else is doing
it.
And
Ashley Kay is on the verge of 50.
No, she hit 50.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, I looked at her. She hit 50.
Oh, shoot.
She hit 50.
Okay, so congratulations. Ashley Kay has hit 50 professional wins. And listen, we know it's bikini.
It don't matter.
But respect factor has to go in. We got to get her on the podcast and see what her mindset is. She's the winningest IFBB professional of all time by
almost double.
Mile, yeah.
Dexter's what, 29? She's 50. I mean, if she keeps going, she could. If she hits 58, she's double the next person, and it's not.
That's not going to be broken.
She's only 34. I mean, she can go for another.
And she's a front runner for the Olympia. Jen Doria's backed out now. The returning champion is now backed out, so she's moving on to do other things right now, and this year at least. I don't know what her future plans are. Mm-hmm. She just made the announcement yesterday.
Yep.
So that division, I mean, we see Bumstead looking amazing. I mean, is looking amazing. We haven't seen Ramon. We haven't seen what he's looking like. Wesley, you said you saw some things on.
I saw the pictures. He looks like a.
I know Ryan Terry's on his way to the States. I think he's going to be training in New York like he was last year at Steve's. Mm-hmm. Aaron Banks, is he coming for redemption? Is Brandon Henderson competing? Is he sitting in this one out?
I don't think he is.
Okay.
I think he's sitting out.
Okay.
And then obviously in wellness, Franciali's.
She's holding it, right?
She's tough to beat. If someone beats her, they're pretty damn good.
And of course, Miss Olympia lost.
Yeah, Andrea Shaw lost
Arizona.
Last weekend she lost, and now I don't know if that might be a good thing for her. Might wake her up to where she's her all-time best.
I mean, it is pretty far. It's 6 weeks out of the actual Miss Olympia.
And I don't know why, or I wasn't there, but who knows? Maybe the girl that beat her put everything to peak at this, and Andrea's not wanting to peak here. She's wanting to peak at the Olympia. But it's a big payday, so I'm sure she did.
I didn't hear a lot of arguments that she didn't deserve to
Yep, I didn't hear anyone say anything.
Win that contest,
Which, if that's the case, then good for the judges and good for the girl that beat her. Just because you're the reigning champion doesn't mean you can't be beat. That's the way it is.
Well, listen, we were actually going to do a live. We've been talking about doing this live, and we're learning the tricks with this, and this is kind of big time for us because we've never done it before. So we are going to test this at some point. We are going to do a live feed, and we wanted to bring in all these questions, which we have a ton. I put up something just on my social media today, and I said, guys, this was kind of a last minute. We wanted to do kind of a Q&A and get this in because we're going to load this tomorrow. Okay, so we wanted to make sure we were kind of in tune and live. And we appreciate all the comments. We would like to do a Q&A or at least questions almost every single podcast that we do, ideally. And then, of course, we'll reserve some of these for questions and just overview. We talk a lot about what's going on in the community. If we're not interviewing people, we do have some people lined up to interview, especially as the Olympia rolls up, which is going to be here before you know it. But I wanted to come on and be able to say, guys, ask your questions. What doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't have to even be fitness related. feel free to put your questions below, and we will, actually, I think when we do the live feed, we're going to actually call people out by their handle,
Yep.
give them a shout out, and, kind of give you guys a little publicity. So start asking your questions below, whether it's from myself, Matt, one of our guests. I mean, we've had 1 million people on here. So like you said, episode 130, which
30.
is.
And once we do the live, I know how people are. And I don't think they realize we don't have an engineer. This is just learning it.
Okay.
And if we did a live like other people do, you just log in from YouTube and then you just put the camera on you. But we want to do it to where the software's there so you can see everything. And if we have multiple people on there, it's just making sure the software's right. And the last thing I want to do is, hey, we're doing our first live and it tanks. And then I'll be public enemy number 1, which I already am. But
people that tune in like our podcast,
So we did
Big shout out to Lucas too out in Poland, man. We love you, bro. I know you comment, you reshare every time we do our podcast, and I can't wait to see you. I guess it won't be at the Olympia, but hopefully sometime early next year.
So you want to tell them what we did on your Instagram for questions, just so they know where these are coming from?
I don't know what we did.
No, meaning, so what we did was,
okay,
you put a post up on Instagram.
Yeah.
Just basically saying, hey, ask your questions. So what we've done is we've screenshotted 10 questions from.
Okay, so that's the thing. I'll be answering 10 fan questions later today for the newest Cutler cast. Put yours below, okay? So we put a link.
And so we have questions here, and I can read them off. We just went through and just picked 10 random questions, and if there's some good ones that we find down the road, we'll just keep them for another upper episode.
Okay.
So the first question is, how did you balance work and training? From Chase Upples.
Okay. So Chase, how did I balance it, man? I think I did it the best. I really think, because early on, what you guys don't realize is I was surrounded by like Chris Aceto, and I had a really good business mentor named Bruce that kind of, mentored me from an early age. And of course, Joe Weider, Ed Connors, all these people were an influence to me early on to be like, hey, you have to monetize, your success. And right away, I started a small mail order selling, shirt and 8x10 photo. And then, of course, that led to DVDs, Mitsuru Kabi, merchandise. And, of course, I started all the branding. Started the website in 2000, jcutler.com. And, I had an ex-wife, Carrie. A lot of you guys know she was she was a very big part of that. She would help me ship all the orders. I had friends. I mean, you were around when we were doing a lot, setting up the booth at the shows, eventually, moving over supplement deals, or even things that I endorsed become profit sharing, and had actually, I'd rather trade shares for actual revenue. We talked about that 1 million times. I mean, it became a shareholder in a lot of companies rather than taking the big check in the front end. I wanted a back end deal. And I think that's how I kind of balanced it out. Guest posings, seminars, between charity, military events. I did it all. I had a great balance of it. Could I have been a better bodybuilder if I would have stayed home and done less? Absolutely. You were witness to a lot. Give your insight a little bit, because you've been around me for, since 2007, you've been pretty much by my side doing things on and off.
I would ask you this. If you could go back, is there anything that you would change? Meaning, maybe go to family dinners. Could you have done these things that wouldn't affect you?
Yes, I should have done, listen, I don't have a father that's alive now. Mm-hmm. My mom's 83. My brothers are in their 60s. Everything changes when you reach that level in life. And things aren't as important to me that were important then. I definitely was chasing financial reward, but I can't say that I would necessarily change that, because I'm in a very, very comfortable position now. Yeah. Not to say I'm the wealthiest guy. I feel like I'm wealthy in life, meaning I have I feel like I have a good surrounding and less stress. Today's a stressful day. I walked in, I said, today's one of those days where it's like, I wish it could go back to.
But you don't let it affect you like other people do.
No, and that's where I go to the gym and I train harder. But
Pacific West Injury Law. Injured? Call 602-HURT. Car accident? Call 602-HURT. Our firm is dedicated to you and your recovery.
But yeah, you could always change things, and maybe I sacrificed the holidays and what I did. But to be honest, I had a pretty good balance for what I did. You remember, we'd had holidays at the house and have 1 million people there. But, you know, a lot of people made this, all the training partners, everyone that influenced me, the promoters, you know, the fans, you guys were also supportive. Everyone that bought my stuff on my website, everyone who wore my merch, everyone who supported me, that still support me. I love you guys. Like, you know, you guys that are asking me the questions. I mean, Chase, you're asking me a question, so you're engaging on my media. I thank you, because you know, that gives me more life and more reason why I do what I do.
Next question, Lil's Gym. What's your favorite Olympia experience?
What's it, Lil's Gym?
Lil's Gym.
Okay. Favorite Olympia experience, probably 09, quad stomp, winning, 2006. The last one, 2013, man, no pressure. I mean, to go in my knowing it was my last in my head. Not that I shared it with the fans, but they gave me the opportunity to give a retirement speech. Bob did. I didn't do it because I just felt, hey, I don't want to take from Phil. Phil's one of his best victories.
That was his one and done.
I think 11 he was better, but man, everyone had.
What about an experience that wasn't necessarily on the stage? Has anything happened that you can think of?
Listen, I've been to Peru. I always talk about going to that orphanage and being able to give toys over there. You know, Santiago from Lab Nutrition brought me over there. That was awesome. Him and his buddy Matt. I got to see the Coliseum 2003. I was just dumbfounded.
That's all because you were Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, well, I wasn't yet, but Alex Ardente created that opportunity. He brought me over for a show. I was supposed to compete. I didn't end up competing. I was sick. With a cold, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to risk, getting on stage and being on antibiotics. But listen, when I saw the Coliseum for the first time at night and that was lit up like that, after seeing only TV about it, it was just absolutely amazing.
The next question is going to be, it says, looks like Pacey on Rob. Just call him Rob. What time do you normally train at, and how many meals do you have before you train?
All right, well, Rob, this has varied a lot in my career. It's a train in the middle of the night. Right now, I train usually in the evening. Like last night, I trained at 6. I like to train after 5 o'clock, after about 4 meals. I train almost every single day, almost 7 days a week. I don't like to take days off because I feel like I'm missing out. It's almost like one of those things where people go to the clubs for the fun, and people go to, they sit and watch TV and they get into their TV shows. I feel the same way about the gym. I'm just addicted to the gym, and my workouts aren't rigorous, and meaning I'm not pushing extreme weight. I get in there and I move weight. Some days I train harder, some days I train less. And a lot of days are content days, so I'm shooting content. So I feel it's efficient not only for myself, but also for my fan base and my supporters and anyone that I can maybe supply new information to. You don't understand how many people stop me to say, hey, Jay, thank you so much for the information you put out. More than ever. They don't talk about, yes, what I did on stage, thank you for being who you were. But now it's like supplying the information I do through the experience. I mean, what's better? There's no textbook answer to any way. I just talk about my experiences, and that's it. Yeah. So all over the place with the times. It really, whenever it fits. If I'm traveling, we trained
at 2 and 3 in the morning.
FIBO, we trained every day after the expo. That was in the evening. 8 o'clock.
When we were in Sweden, we'd train early in the morning.
Yeah, we got up at, I think we trained fasted. Yeah, so if I just get the workouts in whenever. If we fly, I try to train when we get there, which is crazy.
It helps get the fluid off your body too.
It helps also with the jet lag.
Yeah. The next person, Sammy D's 18, just Sammy.
Okay, Sammy.
How would you work out if you only had 3 days a week to train?
All right, Sammy, how would I work out? So I would train probably, I would do legs one day for sure. And then I would do chest, shoulders, and arms another day. And then I would probably do back on another day. Does that make sense?
Would you go every other day, or would you do 3 days?
Yeah, I would probably do every other day, since you're doing so much.
Yeah. I think some people probably have.
Or train Monday, Tuesday, take Wednesday off, train Thursday, and then take like 3 days off, because I think your body needs 72 hours between muscles. But I would probably do the lower body on its own day. Then I would do chest and shoulders for sure another day, and then maybe back and arms. Or I either one of those. Chest, shoulders, arms, and then back and legs on its own or whatever. It really could vary.
I think it also would probably depend on the reason you can only do 3 a day. What if you have a crazy hard work schedule for 3 days and you're just beating?
See, the thing is, like, you're asking me, so if I was to do it, because I do like over 20 sets for back and over 20 sets for legs, usually 30 to 40 for those body parts. So that's why I say those days almost need to be on their own, where the other body parts is like a maximum of 20 sets.
Let's see. Shubham. How do you deal with failures? Say favors.
Shubham?
Yeah, it says it's Shubham 0005.
Okay.
Just
it's Shubham. How do I deal with failures? I've had a lot. I use those in stride, man. Those are kind of like the stepping stones to greatness, I figure. Think about who you're asking that. I mean, failing at the Mr. Olympia contest to win 4 times before I won it, and then losing it, coming back to win it, still only one in history, which I was reminded, which I watched some episode of someone's podcast the other night, and they said Jay Cutler's the only one to ever lose it and win it back.
Still.
And that's pretty crazy. I mean, listen, Brandon Hendrickson did in his
in different divisions, yes, but never
Jen
in
Dory
open
did in
bodybuilding.
hers, yeah.
Yes.
But open bodybuilding, I mean, is this the year Hadi Chupin does it? I mean, I don't know. I just think failures are great. You got to take the failures and use them as positive things. I failed on business transactions. I've lost 7 figures on stuff. Okay, but I've also made a lot more. I mean, there's certain things you take and you learn from mistakes in order to make yourself better, if that makes sense.
Best teacher in life is experience.
Yes.
Show me one, show me one person in any sport that has more success than losses. Even if you take a Michael Jordan, I won 6 titles. He played 15 years.
I know, but think about how he struggled. But then when he went to the Wizards, wasn't in the documentary, was it?
No, it was bad.
Think about when he went and played baseball and stepped away. And
every person, it doesn't matter who it is. Tom Brady has how many Super Bowls? 6,
7, I think
7,
7. Yeah.
7. How many years did he play? That means he's lost more than he's won. Yeah. But the fact that he has lost, he found a way to come back and win, so he used that as some type of motivation. So,
I mean, his exit year, he didn't do so well, did he, at the Tampa Bay?
Ravens Rebirth. What's one of your favorite moments from competing entirely? Thanks and be blessed.
Favorite moments in competing, it might surprise you, was Phil Heath's victory.
Yeah.
To be able to witness someone next to me that was that close, I almost was... I couldn't say I was happy to lose, but I actually said it on stage that I was really happy for him, because I know what that feeling's like to witness, Big Ramy win his, or Brandon Curry win his. I watched Brandon Curry. I watched these guys at the back of the pack, so I know what it's like to come forward and be able to achieve this. I mean, Ronnie Coleman. I mean, to be able to see him, do what he does now. I love seeing what he's doing with this fan base and traveling the world, even being in the position he's in. It's pretty damn awesome,
It's crazy. When I think of Ronnie Coleman, what I remember more than anything was 07 speech, because I was sitting next to Carrie and she was crying because he was that person on your target all those years, and it was over. So I got to see, I mean, obviously I've seen him throughout the years, but I got to see that last moment. And another kind of cool moment is when Hadi won. It was the fact that a guy that couldn't speak the language, not from here, when everyone said you can't do it, and he did it, which is pretty cool. Just moment in history, just to be able to see that.
Yeah.
Any others that you can think of? What about a non-competitive moment? Was there anything?
So what was the question exactly?
It was, what was one of your favorite moments from competing entirely? Was there another cool show you did somewhere where?
I mean, getting second to Ronnie Coleman in England, Chris Aceto being like, you're going to win this. Chris Aceto told me backstage, he's like, you're going to beat him. I mean, 01 coming off the stage and Chris Aceto in tears, crying at the Mandalay Bay, like, dude, you won.
Yeah.
You're winning. You're going to win this show. You're going to be Mr. Olympia. Like, he literally told me, like, you're going to win this show.
Yeah.
I lost, but at that moment, I was Mr. Olympia for half the day. Pretty cool.
Well, half the day.
Yeah.
What about at the Arnold when Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah, pretty cool. I mean,
How many people
Jean-Claude
can
Van
say
Damme.
that?
Yeah, Stallone, I'm a huge fan. Jean-Claude Van Damme, a huge fan. Oh, man, it's like, I think
sure
about
there's
those
other ones,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about a lot of moments. My dad being there, my dad witnessing me win the Olympia for the first time after him thinking I never was going to be able to do it. He thought politics. I mean,
I'm going to probably butcher this name. Vishal Kumashina. Vishal.
Yep.
What were you thinking when you beat Ronnie Coleman's first time?
I was thinking how I was going to react and how I was going to handle his loss. Truly, I thought, okay, what am I going to say to him when they make the announcement? I need to make sure I hug him and hold his hand. Does that make sense?
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, did the same thing with Branch Warren. I mean, I knew I was going to win, but I always think about the competitor next to me and how their reaction is because, listen, I stood at second a lot, man. So when Phil Heath the same. I mean, I wanted to comfort my competitors. That was the most important thing for me. So I can't always say that I enjoyed the moments fully because I always was concerned about everyone else, and that's the truth. So it was like, okay, how is the reaction going to be? And then it was like, okay, I can finally drink some water. That's all that mattered.
Yeah. I mean, dude, look.
I was so dehydrated, everyone.
I know some people would look and say, you're a 4-time Mr. Olympia. You know, it means you were the best in the world 4 times. But the fact that you were, for 6 other times, you were right there, meaning 10 years of your life, you were one of the last 2 standing. Ronnie didn't even have that. None of these other guys have that. Arnold didn't have that. Lee Haney didn't have that. They were first, and obviously when Ronnie lost, he got second, and then he was kind of done from there. He never tasted that, that top 2. You did it longer than anyone, and you might not even realize that.
Yeah, it was hard to get 6th in 2013. Yeah. That was kind of like, as much as that moment was great for me because the pressure wasn't there, kind of sucked a little bit, to be honest. I was like, damn, like I'm really this far down for the first time in 12 years. It was a little hard for me to swallow that.
Fashi Shaikh. Any comeback on stage?
Fashi.
F-A-S-I. Fashi.
Okay. Come back on stage, man. Nah, I mean, listen, at 51, it's a different era for me. Like I said, I'm just, I don't know. I'm closer to, I mean, we talk about midlife and being 50. I mean, very few people live to be 100.
Very few people live to be 52. It's 50
yes.
as well.
So how many more years do I have left on this earth? And what else is on my mind to achieve or to give back or have the moment? Like, enjoy the moment. Like, that's one thing, and you know me as a friend and business associate. I don't enjoy the moments like I probably could.
No. And
I need to learn how to do that, and I may never learn before I die. But the truth is it's a different point in my life. So the stage is for the current crop of guys. It's for the Derricks and the Hotties and the Sampsons and Nick Walkers and Labradas. And I mean, we've all had our heyday, and you have to realize that there's a time where we step away and we're just not as competitive as we once were. And listen, we talk about Masters, but it never appealed to me. Not to say that that's a bad thing that these guys get on the Masters stage, but when you're Mr. Olympia, there's only one. There's only one title, and you look at those elite guys on the walls of Venice Golds, for example, and you look at that prime condition, what they look like, and I can't ever achieve that again. Not at my age. It's impossible. Like, we can say nothing. I sit here and preach about it. There's anything you can accomplish. At 51, it's hard.
Yeah, you can't. There's no way.
Your body's just not going to respond.
You've had injuries. You've had stuff. There's no way you could ever.
My
look
mindset
like that
is in a whole different era. I don't even know. Like, Mike Tyson's fighting coming up.
Yeah.
How do you go back to the killer that you are. I don't know how anyone can do that. You need that instinct. I mean, you're hungry.
The question is, if you have that killer mentally, but physically it's not doing, does it just frustrate you? Because you know what you want to do, but you physically can't anymore?
Yeah, I don't even have that instinct.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't say I wish I had it, or no, I don't wish I had it, because that mindset, man, it's a very dark place, because that's all you think about. You go to bed and you wake up thinking, I got to be the best in the world. I got to beat everyone, and that's kill the gym, and that's it.
Well, you will be on stage again at the Mr. Olympia Saturday night. I'm assuming they're going to do something for you guys. It's the 60th, so yeah. I would hope, but maybe not. EP lifts. Is failure training more or less optimal than training with a specific number of reps per set?
I never trained to failure ever in my career.
Wow.
I've always trained with volume. It's just how I learned. It's how Chris taught me early on. It's how I learned from the Arnold books, Bob Harris. I just think training to failure, you risk more injury, because I feel like you're pushing your muscles to a point of fatigue and the possibility of rupture, if that makes sense. So when you start doing forced repetitions, and I mean, everyone's done some sort of forced reps, just, I don't know. I've never got into like heavy duty training, all out, Mike Menser type style. I get that common question a lot. I've never squatted like Tom Platz, where it's like tons and tons of repetitions. I've just stuck to what works. And I mean, if you have great success as a teenager, turn professional at a young age, and land up at the Olympia stage pretty quickly, I mean, I just, why mess with that, if that makes sense?
The next question from Dumpy David Bay.
Okay.
I gave him that
David
name.
Bay, okay.
Next year, quads, what do you think was your most distinguishable body part?
Next to my quads, what was most distinguishable? I would say my midsection.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, I kind of unique. I had a wider waist, but I really thought I had really good abs.
Extremely flat abs,
yeah.
More so than even the guys with the tiny waist.
Yeah, I would say my side tricep was a pretty commendable pose too.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
I mean, because I had the flat midsection and I had the cap tricep. I think those would be strong points. I mean, I had decent calves. I felt like comparable to, I mean, who my competition was at the time.
Maybe not a body part, but just width in general.
Yeah, width.
Because you're not the tallest guy on stage.
Width for sure. I mean, I was dominant, and then obviously, I think I'm known as the guy who had the ability to offset the waist with the shoulders and the quads, just create what they call an X frame as much as someone possibly could with the so-so structure that I was blessed with. My structure was never great. I was never, in the early days, expected myself to be who I was. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really, I mean, everyone's going to call me the quad king, I mean, quad stomp, whatever else. But that didn't come till later in my career. I mean, it was the width that really carried me in all those contests prior to that.
Because there'd be guys that were technically bigger than you, but you were just as wide as them, so it created that illusion.
Yeah.
Max King, after the loss in 2008, what was the biggest change made so you can come in so crazy in 2009?
Max King. So changing coaches, Hani Rambod, fluid restriction, I would say anti-estrogens made a difference. What I used as an anti-estrogen to help. Stair mill incorporated for the first time ever. Never did that before. Twice a day, 45 minutes. And even when I was tired and exhausted, I kept pushing. Even when the legs shrank, I kept pushing. Training partners, picked up some really great training partners. Brian Glenn, Big Swole,
I saw Big Swole at the gym the other day.
Oh, you did? Yeah. I had all those guys in my corner, man. We had some great, Dave Borlée would come once in a while. I mean, Brad Boyes, he came out. I just had a great team. My ex-wife, we really came together that year, and man, what a year, what a year. But that was a big difference. I think my mindset too is I went from thinking I was absolutely defeated to becoming, driven, Phil Heath was a big pusher for that. Phil Heath looked phenomenal as we prepped for that show. Spent a lot of time with him. But Hani was a big tool. Yeah. His recommendations and his ability to motivate me and never teach me to be satisfied was a huge push for them. So I have to probably give the most credit to him that year. And listen, Chris Aceto was the same a lot of years for me. I needed a different mindset and just someone to really pin me down and just make me realize I wasn't that good. And Hani was great at making me feel not so good. But when I won, it was a huge, huge achievement for all of us and one of his 24 victories as a coach.
Do you think if you would have done the step mill other years, it would have made a difference?
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
You know what? I mean, I did fish, so I know there was a podcast. I don't know if it was Fuad's or whatever else, and they talked about you can still get ripped without fish. Yeah, I think you can, but I still think fish is going to give you a different look. I've done it with and without. It's a different look for me. Ronnie Coleman never did fish, but like he just had certain genetics. If you're limited on genetics and you have to like cut all corners you can, you know, doing things that you maybe don't want to do as far as eating wise, you have to do it. You have to do it. The step mill, just that slow steps, squeezing, it's going to condition you. I don't care what anyone says. I've done treadmill, bike. I've did all that. You're not going to burn more calories. It's more work. I hated it. I was exhausted. It definitely makes a huge difference. Every time you step, it gives that separation, that glute hamstring. If I was to train anyone, if you youngsters came to me or even Olympia competitors now and said, Jay Cutler, I want you to train me, I put their ass on the step mill, training for a contest. I don't care. The treadmill is not going to do what the steps will do for people. I don't care. And if you could want to say, hey, you know what, you're wrong. Fish will not do what steak and chicken will do for you, or turkey breast or egg whites. I think that white fish is absolutely necessary for a guy who has size like me to get in the best shape possible. And I hated fish. I couldn't stand it. Ask Phil Heath. Would he have done it without fish?
A pound of orange roughy a day.
I mean, that's what we did.
I remember. Yeah. I've noticed that any of the guys throughout history that got just stupid ripped, they always had whitefish in the diet.
And some people who knows what Munzer did or these other guys that were shredded. And listen, I don't know if Hottie does fish, but we don't really know. But I'm telling you guys, I'm giving you guys information like from the guys I know in my era. Besides the freak of Ronnie Coleman, because he trained like an animal and whatever else, fish was the answer, man. White fish. I just think it worked the best. That's my opinion. I would, like I said, I suggested. I would argue with people if they tell me no. It's to give me some scientific reason why not. I would still argue it because there's no textbook that says this is the way to do it.
Everyone's
it's all
different,
trial and error. It's all trial and error.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of guys nowadays don't want to do the whitefish.
Oh, I mean,
they don't want to do the step mill.
Who does, bro?
Of course.
I mean, a lot of days I didn't want to go to the gym. I mean, you know how many times I got to the gym and said, screw this, I'm going to come back in a few hours after a couple more meals. I mean, I still do that today. I mean, I sat on the couch the other night and I told you I sat in traffic for 2 hours in an accident. Yeah. And I had intention of going to that gym that night. I came home, I took a nap. I texted you, I had to go pick up Angie at the airport. I said, dude, I didn't go to the gym today. I was absolutely exhausted after sitting in the traffic after leaving here for 2 hours. You know, I sat in that traffic and I said, you know what, I have to sleep. I'm just exhausted. So I skipped the gym. I mean, that was a planned workout day. And I mean, not that I'm training for anything, but I don't know a lot of days. If you ask me, did you ever miss? Not really. I mean, if I traveled, I think if I was competing today and I was in the off season and we were going to FIBO every year and I didn't have any events until the Olympia, I can guarantee you I did less training there when I used to go to FIBO when I was a competitor than I do now. Yeah. Why?
Because you don't want to risk hurting yourself either.
But I just wasn't as, I don't know if I was, I don't want to say I was motivated, but I was like, okay, the eating is more important. Like, I haven't eaten anything. So there's no point in going to the gym and getting smaller that I'm going to get on this trip. I don't give a shit now. Like, if I eat one meal over 24 hours, I just need to go to the gym for the mental aspect. It's way different from trying to build the best physique in the world. And, you know, I didn't care if, like, Phil was going or Kai Green. I mean, we'd see them all at Emporium Gym over there in UK. And I went with Ronnie Coleman one year. But listen, man, everyone's effort is different. And I think a lot of people, like, they rely on genetics, some more than others. But listen, I was a workhorse. And I mean, I could Branch Warren outwork me in the gym? Probably. Was he one of the hardest trainers there were? Yeah. Sure, there's other guys. We talk about Hottie versus Derek. Who's training harder right now? I just saw Hottie squat 6 plates. It's 5 weeks.
It's what Ronnie, remember that video?
He did 6 plates, 5 reps, take a plate off. 5 reps, 5 plates. Take a plate off. 5 reps, 4 plates. Insane. Who's doing that right now?
Who's doing that, period? Even in the off season.
Who is doing that right now? So, Hani, what is going on over there in Texas, man? Maybe, you guys haven't seen it. Go to, I don't know if it was Hottie or Hani's Instagram. Did you see it?
Yeah. I saw that. Like, the first thing your head's go.
6 plates, bro.
I never did more than 5 plates. Even at my peak, I was scared
5 weeks out?
That's a lot of.
It's hard to go against someone like that because what he brought to the Arnold, he's like, what have you done for me lately? He's done a lot lately.
Could you imagine if he looks even better?
And that's what I think about. Arnold? I had to deal with that with Ronnie Coleman, seeing Ronnie, knowing that Mitsuru would come to me. I was filming Ronnie for Unbelievable and all these DVDs. He's like, yeah, he squatted 7 plates.
Front squat.
Yeah, he front squatted and threw the bar. And like, I was like, fuck, I got to get to work.
Yeah.
That was just hearsay. That wasn't like, okay, let's go on Instagram.
Road. Yeah.
Like, he would be like, hey, I was just there. He looks fucking ridiculous. He squatted this. He fucking T-barred
that was his
this.
opinion.
He bent rode 5 plates.
Yeah.
For 12 reps. Like,
the difference is now the guys see it. They don't just hear someone talking about it.
Yes.
So do you think that other competitors, if they're not completely locked in, do you think them seeing that can mess with them?
It's got to F your mind up a little bit. Because, listen, there's no question. Ronnie, but, I mean, it was so big.
Yeah.
And so strong. And so conditioned. And so put together.
And the shape and symmetry, everything.
That's what I mean. So I feel like Derek and Hottie are very similar in a sense where I don't think it's going to come down to condition with them because one's not going to be, he's way bigger than the other. They're going to trade poses, and Derek probably has a little more roundness, if that makes sense. And his back is better. But if Hottie comes in that razor condition, he beats Derek if Derek isn't conditioned enough. But I think Derek's showing a different. We can't judge Derek on last year.
He looks harder.
He does, and that if he can hold that and not when he drains that water out, lose that pop. That might be a hydration thing where he's got to find that balance. But right now, Hottie's coming, man.
So the question would be, if Hottie just is a little bit sharper from the back, where he's going to lose it to Derek, but not where because Hottie could get more conditioned if he is, but then from the side and the front, if Derek can't match him, does Hottie retain it?
Yeah, it's a great question until they're prepared, but I'm expecting a lot from Lunsford. I am. Yeah. Just like I'm expecting from Nick Walker, I'm expecting from Martin Fitzwater. Mm-hmm. I don't know what my expectations are from Samson. I don't know how much of a different package he's going to bring in. He may shock us and bring crazy condition. Brandon Curry's a big question mark. Andrew Jack, we kind of know what we're looking for. Hunter, we kind of know after this weekend. So, like, what have you done for me lately? Man, Walker's a huge question mark because he missed last year. We can't compare him, and we can't look 2 years ago to what he looked like.
And I think the hard part for Nick at this point was New York was not his best showing, so people are going to automatically write him off, which is stupid because
he's very determined. Yes. Like I said, these guys work hard, but Nick's a different beast.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can predict him to win, but he could be second, third, fourth. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't count against him.
Yeah.
I really think Hottie or Derek are in the driver's seat for a victory right now.
Yes.
unless they both come in off. But I don't want to make any predictions this year because it's just way too close.
There's, in my opinion, it's next to impossible to predict where the top 5. There's guys that are going to, like, we're talking about Nick. Nick's going to be in that mix. Where he falls, I don't know.
And listen, my whole mindset could change after seeing Hunter this weekend. If Hunter shows up.
If Hunter's in condition like some of these other top guys, he will be in the mix too.
But he's got to peak again in 5 weeks. It's just when you're big like him. He's big. Yeah. He's big. I mean, it's hard to peak.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. There's no tickets. We can't say to go to MrOlympia.com. Friday night there's tickets, so grab your prejudge tickets. You can take my seats there because I'll only be there Saturday night. But you'll give me the insight. You'll give me the insight.
It's because it's in Vegas, and I was like, damn, should I go stay down there just because I want to drive back and forth? I'm like,
you should.
Nah, I'm just going to drive.
Go stay at Crockford's and stay in the big villas
that whole
over
thing's
there.
sold out.
But go in the villas, man.
Dude, I don't got Jay Cutler
yeah,
money.
Well, call up Peter. Call up Peter. Tell him to go play a couple hands down there. Peter,
why don't you play a couple
Matt
hands?
Out. I texted him yesterday, too. I said, I heard you guys had a nice dinner or whatever. So, Peter, I'm challenging you to get a few hands running for Matt over there so we can get a nice villa for the Olympia.
I think we need to get you gambling.
No,
why don't you turn into a gambler?
I'm not good at it, man. You were originally Gambro, man. That was your nickname. Anyone that knows, that was his nickname in 2007. I called him.
No,
you was in my phone.
No, it was 01.
Okay, you were in my phone as the gambler.
That's because I came here and I brought 40 grand.
And you bought your first Rollie.
Yeah, my first Rolex in 01 at New York, New York. And now I'm busted.
Any more questions? Are we good?
No, that was it. All
right, so guys, include your questions.
On the bottom of this.
We've had a lot. We've had a lot of questions this time. 10 questions, a lot. But let's talk about more mindset. Let's talk about, we can background, family. I mean, people don't ask a lot about, like, my upbringing, my family concrete business. I would pray every day, like, I'd get through these days. Like, what about some of your background or whatever else?
I don't know, stupid. Do you ever have a job where you hated it so much you'd purposely go to the bathroom every hour?
No, because I work for my family,
I did.
No.
Every hour you go to the bathroom and sit there.
No.
So you could burn 15 minutes. I did that when I was in high school.
That's so typical you, man.
I was 16.
Include your questions below, okay? We appreciate all the support. Episode 130, Cutler Cast, Matt and I are out this time. Put your questions below. Thank you, guys.